Hello and welcome back to another episode of Media Munchers. I'm Mathian.
And I'm Adrian.
And today we're going to do a quicker one. We're just going to review the first episode of Marvel's What If. What if Captain Carter was the first Avenger? And followed by the Suicide Squad review. So without further ado, Big Apple, let's get right into that What If. We talked briefly about it last night, and you were like, it was aight. And so I was like, okay, well, I have some preconceived notions going in. So I watched it today, and it was way more palatable than I thought it would be. Like I enjoyed it.
Okay.
Like I like how they set up the premise, like by the Watcher at the beginning.
Yeah.
You know how basically the butterfly effect. You know, if one small thing changes, a whole branch universe can happen just immediately. So I was like, okay, great. They're getting the audience's expectations set. Letting them know that this is just what he observes. This is an alternate universe, and then we go from there. And yeah, I think everything, it kind of makes sense. I was like, okay, one small effect, Peggy making that choice to just stay in the room, and then how everything goes sideways, and now she's the first Avengers. And I was like, okay, cool. But I mean, like, all that, nothing rubbed me the wrong way. I was like, this is really neat. And like, I really love the art style and the animation, and everything at the beginning was like really solid for me. And do you have any hang-ups?
I think it was a pretty decent beginning. I think it was the most interesting part at the beginning.
Facts.
How sort of you get to see a little bit of like what it would be like as Agent Carter being the one taking over as Captain America.
Right.
Yeah.
And like, of course, there was big themes at play, being World War II and women's place in not only society but especially in the armed forces, right, on the front lines and all that. And there was a whole lot of that done really tastefully. I thought it was really badass throughout the whole thing. And the fight choreo was a lot cooler. I mean, she was like a She-Hulk, man, just wrecking everything.
They were really creative with it too.
Really creative.
Yeah.
And I love how she was like, whoa, like she didn't know she was this strong, and like she was just wrecking everything. She's like, I'm usually more discreet. And I was like, same.
I like the difference between her and Steve and how she was kind of more or less having fun with it.
Yeah. It was interesting seeing a different perspective. And like, what I think she talks about it later in the episode, but I think what contributes to that is that she finally has like a new level of freedom, like physical freedom, maybe some societal freedom. Like she can express herself and not really hold back and be timid anymore or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Like she is having fun with it.
Right. Yeah. Now she can take charge like she wants.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, and they play it. They play it on the nose with the whole parallels, like where that mean Colonel dude was like, "You're lucky to even be in the room before she gets powers or whatever." Yeah. And then how that turns around once she's in a.
Now I don't remember. Was he in the first Avenger?
I want to say, if I'm not mistaken, is he supposed to be?
Because I don't think he's supposed to be Tommy Lee Jones.
That's what I was gonna say.
Right?
At first, I thought it was Tommy Lee Jones'
else.
character, but yeah, no, it just seems like some sort of ancillary general or something. I think maybe if we went back and dug around, we could find like who the sub replacement, who it was supposed to be, but I don't even remember the name of the general or whoever he was.
Yeah, I don't know that they even named him.
I think he was just supposed to be a foil, just kind of like
pretty
you know what I mean?
He's supposed to be that stuck-up guy.
Exactly, but whatever. Everyone had to play their part. What I thought was interesting was how they essentially had to condense an alternate version of the first Avenger, the first Captain America movie, down into like 33 minutes, because I think that's basically going to be the runtime of all of these, right?
Yeah, I would assume.
So I like that because the pacing was quick. It was like, okay, we're there. But where it got funny for me was, it was like, okay, how did Red Skull even get his face in the first place? I thought he was messing around with the Tesseract and got over. I mean, I guess you could say the same thing happened.
So in the first Avenger, he had gotten his powers because he was working with Dr. Erskine.
Yeah,
if I'm pronouncing that right.
I think so.
And he had taken the serum, and then it went bad for him because it was still in the trial phase.
Right. So he tried a proto serum.
He tried to like rush the process.
And it didn't work out too well for him. Okay, so I guess we assumed that just that same thing happened just off screen because there wasn't time for that.
Yeah,
so that makes sense. It was a really similar universe, but just that one change. What I thought was really neat was a lot of the voice actors came back. Was Chris Evans back? Because
no, I do believe they
right?
listed a different
actor.
Yeah, Josh Keaton played.
Yeah, it was close, but it wasn't
voice actor. Yeah,
it was close, but it wasn't quite Evans.
Yeah, it did kind of sound like him.
Similar,
like small
differences. But that was the same Peggy. I'm pretty sure Sebastian Stan. That was for sure him. Sounded just like him.
Yeah,
so, and Stark too, I think. Right?
Yeah.
Same dude. Right?
Look
at his names.
Something Cooper.
Anderson Cooper?
Anderson. No, Dominic Cooper.
I'm just messing with you. That's the news host guy.
Yeah.
No, I get you. So yeah, those are tasteful, and I hope that they can keep as many as they can going forward for all the alternate movies.
I'd be interested if they dug a little deeper into like what separates them from what we've already seen, because I feel like if anything they didn't really do anything interesting with the Agent Carter taking over as Captain America.
You know, it's funny you should say that, because before we even started the episode, my mom, who was watching with me, was like, well, why are we watching this? And I was like, well, you know, it's just cool to see What If. And she was like, but what's the point if it's not canon? And I was like, So it goes off of your point. Like, what is the difference? What is the point? Like, what is so unique about this timeline that we're getting a whole animated episode about it? You know what I mean? And it was cool that, you know, she took charge and things worked out. And we didn't even get to the fact that with that crazy power source in some time, Howard Stark was able to make like an Iron Man suit for Steve.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
How did you feel about that?
I thought it was cool. I don't know if he would necessarily make that leap that early on.
Right. Because I did feel...
Because that was a problem of like...
It sort of cheapened Iron Man in a way.
In a way, I can see why you'd say that. Because on one hand, I was like, oh, cool, like, haha, 1940s Iron Man. But on the other hand, I was like...
Yeah, because I remember, like, his dad, he was pretty advanced in his
fields,
technology himself. But even then, I don't see how he would make that connection to automatically make a suit of
armor.
Iron Man.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Because, I mean, if we're supposed to just only accept Iron Man as his... origin in the MCU, not in comics, but just in the MCU.
Right.
It was built out of necessity. Like he was literally in a rock in a hard place, like in those caves, you know, with terrorists. And so he had to build that with the box of scraps. Yeah, we can never forget that line, Big A. We'll never forget that line.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like Howard. Okay, yeah, he makes machines of war and, you know, technological advancements. But like, yeah, how do you make the leap? Like, it would be cool if they showed something. You know, how would he make the leap to a suit of armor? So that was interesting.
I also thought it was interesting how the Red Skull used the Tesseract.
Yeah.
Because in the original, he was just using it as like a power source for
weapons,
his weapons.
And yeah, exactly.
But he actually took it a step further and tried opening a portal to that.
That gave me
monster.
A lot of excitement and anxiety, because I'm like, who's coming through that portal?
Right.
I did not think it was going to be some literal Hydra or squid or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be like, oh, maybe we'll see Loki. I'm like, nah, that's probably too much of a departure. I was like, okay, maybe we'll see like maybe Thanos or something. I don't know, like, who's on the other side of that portal? Who's this army or this world ender that he's going to bring?
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? And then it was just like some sort of, they didn't even explain where it came from. They just opened a portal.
Not really.
And I was like, all right.
Yeah, it was weird too to just follow the whole thread line, because he had lost the Tesseract when Agent Carter broke in.
Right.
But then we just completely skip over how he gets it back, and then he suddenly has it.
It's implied that he gets it back from the staged sabotage train crash.
Okay.
It's like...
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, because like Steve's like, oh, and then he like sacrifices himself. Essentially, he just gets caught in the blast, and so everything goes down. The avalanche goes down, and much like they got Bucky at the down there in the ravine.
Right.
I'm sure Hydra was scouring and waiting for the fallout and searching through. I mean, that Tesseract's really valuable, and if a suit of armor is on board, you know, and the whole thing comes down, you'd best believe they're gonna go look for that.
Right.
So I was like, they're gonna go, and that made sense. But what didn't make sense to me until we talked about it was I was like, well, how is he the Red Skull? Like, what happened? But I'm sure off screen they did that. So, and that might happen in the future episodes. There might be things that are skipped over. You just have to accept or suspend your disbelief a little, just because if they are only 30 minutes,
right?
There's so much story they're trying to tell.
Yeah.
One thing I really respected is that they kept that romance line from Peggy and Steve.
Oh yeah. They slightly altered it.
But it was still, the end result was the same. Like, even no matter where they were, like, they respected each other enough to like still have that connection and still want to be something more, even though circumstances didn't really allow for it, just like the original movie.
Right.
But I mean, I thought it was cute. I was like, oh, like their love still persists, even though she's the cool person or the super soldier now. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I was like, oh, that's cool. You know.
Yeah, I'd also be interested to see if they develop the Watcher's point of view, like his whole
like
story.
If he evolves.
Like is he an actual character within this, or is he just the mode for them to tell the story?
Gotcha. I'm leaning towards that.
Yeah.
I don't think, because I mean, I haven't read every comic or, you know, even heard of every comic with the Watcher in it, but it's my understanding that unless there's some crazy Thanos level event, like he doesn't
probably
do shit.
Because I would assume he's
still abstained for that. He still watched that. So it's like, it was supposed to happen. So when is it valid for him to be even at play, even talking to our mere mortal characters? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't think there's ever gonna come a time, unless there's some big Avengers 5 or 6 multiverse event where it's collapsing again. You know what I mean? Like the full circle type deal.
Right.
Like where everyone's trying to get back on a one timeline. Like I don't think he would ever intervene. He said he'll never. He made it a large point. He'd never intervene. He can't. He won't. He won't do it. So I don't know. I don't know how much he'll actually develop.
Yeah. I'd be interested if that's just a title card or if it's more of like an actual character, so to speak. Because it was the like opening credit sort of thing, right?
He's our narrator,
right?
And I think that's the role he's gonna play going forward. Like I don't think he's gonna do anything more than just say this is what it is. Look what I've observed, and that's it. I don't think he's gonna spin it any kind of way. I think he's gonna be impartial. I think he's just gonna spit facts, and I don't think much is gonna come from him, you know, character development wise. You know what I mean? But that's just my guess. I mean,
yeah. I mean, we'll see. This is the first episode,
and we have like what 20?
I think.
Or I don't know how many are in season 1.
I think it's actually maybe 8
for season 1.
6 or 8 for the
first
season.
Okay. Because I know they're supposed to do it every movie. At least that's the idea I heard.
Is it?
I mean, unless I heard wrong.
I don't know.
I mean, it'd be crazy not to. I mean, it's all animated. It's like that's a lot more affordable than shooting it live action. You know, in terms of like budgets and whatnot, and getting actors back in. You know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, with that, actually, I want to touch up on that very last part where she comes out of the Tesseract portal.
Oh yeah.
And Nick Fury and Clint Barton are waiting there, Hawkeye. And I thought more would come from that scene, but it was a nice little pin to the episode. And like they kind of like, this is it. Like she wakes up in 2012 or whatever, and then we see the Avengers from that point of view on. I thought they might have bickered a little more, but she kind of just accepts it. She's like, all right, we had to dance.
Yeah.
But I thought that was a cute little button. And I think they got Samuel L. Jackson back for that. That sounded like him.
Yeah, I believe they did.
That was cool. But yeah, overall, the first episode was pretty good. I mean, like you said, I had some gripes with it, but overall, I was entertained, and I was like, okay, cool. Let's see what happens next. So hopefully we do. It would be interesting to see the Watcher get some development or something, like something to happen in that character.
Yeah,
because he would literally be the through line.
Like they could do more with him.
For sure. But how much more?
Overall. We'll have to see.
We'll have to see. All right. We're going to take a quick little break, and when we get back, we'll talk The Suicide Squad. All right, and we're back with our review of The Suicide Squad, directed by our best Marvel boy, James Gunn. Initial impressions, I heard you were very, well, I'll let you tell it myself, but I think you liked it, huh, Big A? How much did you like it?
Yeah, I really liked it.
Obviously, it would be impossible to talk about this film without comparing it to the prior Suicide Squad. And it's funny hearing all these opinions about it, because like even my pops was like, yeah, I really liked the first one. I don't know why everyone hated it. I was like, oh, he did? I was like, that's interesting. I mean, there were some likable moments for sure.
Yeah.
But, you know, you take away Batman, you take away Joker, and the movie doesn't have that much to stand on aside from, like, some wow factor here and there. And even them, I don't know. We're here to talk about that movie, but we're here to talk about this movie. Right out the gate, it comes swinging, man. Like, we're, like, kind of thrown into the action, and I appreciate that. I appreciate us being grabbed in and not wasting time because...
Yeah, exactly.
Even if you hadn't seen the previous movie, you can still enjoy and comprehend what's going on here.
Yeah, I feel like they condensed the whole concept pretty well within the first like 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, and I like that you're thrown into it and you get it. And then we took a little pause and it's like, oh, here's like 3 days earlier. Here's like, this is how we all form the team and this is everything else. Yeah. But they make it pretty clear from the get-go that everyone's expendable. Like, this movie should have been called The Expendables because at least this lives up to that name. You know what I mean? No one matters. Yeah. And that made it kind of difficult at times for me to attached to anything. Like when I said that this movie, like, don't get me wrong, it's good. Cinematography is great. There is some funny jokes. Not all of them are haha, but there's some funny gags here and there. Yeah. It's long. It's a long movie. For me, it was. I mean, it didn't fly by. I was like,
I feel like it felt good. Flew by pretty.
You were
quick.
Invested, man. You were invested. Yeah. See, I watched it with my family, and sometimes there can be like a weird energy when we're all together.
That's true.
So that might have,
especially because this is a rated R film.
Yes,
it's heavy on action.
Heavy on action,
heavy on
cussing, nasty jokes. I mean, none of that bothers me, but it's just weird in a family setting. So we're like, oh, on the couch. I'm like, okay. So maybe if I give it a rewatch again, I'll appreciate it for what it is. And then that's just the thing. You have to kind of know what kind of ride you're in for here. Because to me, this felt like an amusement ride. And especially with those creative interim cards, like the whole like chapters, if you would. Yeah. They're like, oh, mission this, mission save Harley or whatever it was. You know what I mean? Right.
And then how they backtracked and they were like, meanwhile with Harley.
Meanwhile with Harley. I thought it was interesting that she essentially got her own movie in here is what it felt like.
Yeah, a little bit.
I was like, her side plot.
Her own like B plot. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was just her. And it was entertaining as hell though. I have to give her that. And she's a pleasure to watch. I love that character. So I was like, okay, it's basically Harley and the Suicide Squad, which what they could have called it. Waller is just stoic, and she's just there. She means business. I thought it was interesting that it was really funny that everyone in the office, we showed the people behind the scenes of Waller and how they differ. Like they're making bets. They're assisting in any way they can. They're mostly on board with her, but they kind of question her ethics.
Yeah, they're more like
regular, working
like
Joes.
like what they don't see, they don't care. But like how would you say it?
Like out of sight, out of mind, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, out of sight, out of mind. Like they go as far as to do their job, but like besides, like they don't at the end of the day don't care what happens to the characters, like the villains that they put in.
Right, they don't care about the villains per se.
Yeah.
No, and that's something I didn't catch until you brought that up.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end, when they all rally to stop Waller from killing them, because they think the villains might be the only hope against Starro and the invaders.
Right, and then they're like coming back and they're gonna help them out.
Exactly. I thought that was interesting because I was like, wait, the morality gets played with a lot here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's like your bad guys doing good things. But then another gag we have early on in the movie is when they tear up the whole. What was it? It was John Cena's character, Mr. Toilet Bowl. Was it Peacemaker?
Right. Peacemaker.
And who's the Deadshot replacement? Is it?
It was Bloodsport.
Yeah. When they like have a pissing contest on how to kill the entire village or whatever.
I thought that was a great movie.
It was hilarious, and then they pull up the rug from under you, and they're like, "Oh no, like those are the rebels," and I was like. No way. Like, dude, that was the funniest thing to me in the movie.
Yeah.
I was like, no way they just did that. There was a lot of standouts. There's a lot of favorites. Polka Dot Man, I guess if they called him that was hilarious. His mom jokes were weird, or like, I don't know, those gags were weird, man. Like seeing like a 1,000-pound Titan mom, that was weird. He has some issues, man. The movie was fun, man. It was a gag, but
yeah, I liked how they played on the character's drama or trauma rather, and how they turned it on its head and sort of they were irreverent with it, like they were poking at it as a person who deals with trauma would do so.
Yeah. No, that was definitely a nice touch. I thought there was like again there was gags even about that, like how I think Waller was she was talking up what was his name again, Bloodsport.
Yeah.
To be like, you can kill anything with anyone, and the same spiel about freaking John Cena's Peacemaker.
Yeah.
And he was like, "You taking a piss, right? You taking a piss with me right now?" Like,
spiel.
Yeah, and it's funny how like when you don't really care and you blur them all together, they are all the same thing. And especially from Waller's perspective, like you're all expendable. I can kill every one of you. Like you don't matter. And so it was interesting, just seeing how all that manifested. And there were so many ties. I love Nanue, King Shark.
Yeah.
He was hilarious. Stallone was as good as him. I hope we see him more. I really do.
Yeah. He was my favorite character.
He was awesome. He was awesome. I was not expecting half the things that happened in this movie to happen. I think one of the there was a lot of great going back to cinematography. There was a lot of great visual stuff. Even just like with Al Roker's character, I think is his name. What was his name? Is from Yondu. Who did he play in this movie?
Oh yes. Michael Rooker. He plays
Michael
Savant.
Rooker. Savant. Yeah. Okay, yeah. I don't even know what his powers were. He like ran away and died before.
Yeah, I guess he just has good aim.
Yeah, there you go.
Right?
Just like
because he was throwing the ball at the beginning.
Yeah. I love all that build up just to like just kill everybody in front of you. Pete Davidson was funny for like the 5 minutes he was on screen.
Yeah.
Weasel. Okay, that was a weird gag character. That was weird. But yeah, hopefully we'll see more going forward. But like I was saying earlier, the best part of the movie, or like for me, the most visually stunning was obviously when Harley goes up. And I love how they tie it all together. You go high, and she goes up and she stabs him with the javelin. Starro in the eye. That was beautiful. Like, it was disgusting, but it was beautiful. It was beautiful and disgusting. And all the rats. I can't believe rats saved the day again. I don't know what Marvel movies and DC movies are trying to tell us about rats, but save the universe, save it again, or at least the Earth. But yeah, overall, it was a good movie. The only thing that I was like about it to me was like towards the end, I was feeling a little empty. I was like, who was I supposed to go for, man? Because even what's his face from last movie? What was it, Captain or whoever?
Captain Boomerang?
No, not Captain Boomerang. The Colonel dude, the good guy, Rick Flag. There you go.
Yeah.
Rick Flag. He was like he got killed trying to like do the right thing or whatever by Peacemaker, and Peacemaker's alive at the end. He's some sort of super soldier or something. I mean, he lived through all that fallout, and I was like, bro, like this is just a mess. I'm like, how do we move going forward? What are we supposed to look forward to? I don't know, but I'm curious to see what happens next.
Yeah. I guess this could be one of those movies where it's kind of you're introduced to a new team every time, and maybe like some reoccurring characters. That's how I see that they might go about this.
Right. I mean, for sure, like Harley's gonna stay probably. Idris Elba's a big name. He'll probably stay.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
think we'll see him.
Waller, I don't think is going anywhere. You know, people like that. Peacemaker, obviously. You know, when you tease that at the end, he's gonna come back. So
yeah. I think they're planning his own show.
Really?
Yeah, I believe
his own
so.
show. Oh damn. Okay. I didn't take DC for the type to do shows, but since they have HBO Max as a streaming platform, I could see them going the Disney Plus route with that.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Is there any other shows I should know about?
No, I don't. I think that's about it.
Okay. Well, you got that for now to look forward to.
Yeah.
Interesting. But yeah, I mean, my biggest takeaways from it were like, yeah, it was funny, and yeah, it was nice seeing like it honestly felt like a Zack Snyder situation where like with the Army of the Dead, where it was just grotesque and like whatever you wanted, like unfiltered raw vision. I felt that from James Gunn here.
Yeah.
Like
it
was his first rated R outing that I've ever seen, and he took that rating very seriously. Lots of gore, lots of lots of craziness. So I was like, cool. But overall, it was really well done, visually stunning. I loved it, and
yeah, I loved the camera work. How it was like panning like real quick.
Yeah.
The whatever it was supposed to be guiding your eyes to.
Yeah. No, not a shot wasted for real. It was good, and there was even small moments that weren't even they weren't like beat down to death. Like even that small moment where King Shark or Nanue, whoever you want to call him, was on the bus and he was like driving by and you saw that couple in the alley kissing. Right. Just small things like that, like showing some depth to the characters. And then it shows you the shot of him looking at him. Yeah, small things like that. And I was like, okay, cool. Because you don't have time for everybody in a movie like this. You just don't. So you give them their small little moments to shine or show some depth. And I thought that was really neat. And that's a hard line to walk with this many characters. Yeah. That's probably why a lot of them died off so quick, too. I mean, like, you served your purpose. You're dead. Like, we can only focus on so many people, you know? So, but overall, pretty solid. Not my favorite, but I'd definitely go back and watch if I was just, like, trying to look for some gory action comedy.
Where would you rank this?
In DC films?
Yeah.
Definitely higher, on the higher end. Well, higher mid, honestly, if I'm being honest. What's the breakdown? We have Man of Steel. We have
Batman vs. Superman. Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman 1, the good
Justice
one.
League.
Justice League, Snyder's Cut, we'll say. Wonder Woman 2, meh.
Yeah.
And then Shazam. Yeah, that was good. And then if you want to count the original Suicide Squad, there's that.
Right.
And then the Suicide Squad. And then Aquaman, of course.
Aquaman, of course.
Okay, so if I'm gonna do like a top 5 real quick, in the top 5, not necessarily in any order, it's gonna definitely be probably OG Superman. Reluctantly, I only say that because it started the universe. It's good in some ways and it's not in some others.
Yeah.
Definitely Aquaman. I liked it. I enjoyed it. Batman versus Superman. Nah. Snyder's Justice League was up there. This is definitely in that top 5. Probably not number 1 for me, the Suicide Squad. And Wonder Woman 1 I thought was enjoyable. So those 5 for me. Yeah. I'll have to come up with an order another day for you, and we'll do that. What about you? What's in your top 5 for these DC films?
Top 5?
In no particular order.
Okay, no order.
No order. Just give me, it's in the bucket list.
Yeah, definitely Man of Steel, Wonder Woman, the Suicide Squad, and what is that? That's 3. So
that's 3.
Aquaman, and then I guess Batman vs Superman, but probably the
Ultimate Edition or whatever, like the long one.
Yeah.
That was a tie for me. That was a tie for me, kind of. Like that was like that's like tied for 5th or maybe 6th. Yeah. Because the Ultimate Edition gives more context and it's a better movie.
Yeah, and I felt the same way about just Zack Snyder's Justice League, but I just feel like overall it could have been cut down a lot more.
A lot more, yeah. Like that was just him going buck wild with it.
Yeah.
Like give me the Zack Snyder's Justice League, but then him having like at least an hour shaved off. Yeah, his theatrical version. That would be tight. Like it would be quick. It'd still probably be 2 hours 40 minutes, but it would be a tight 2 hours 40 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's what I really appreciated about this one is that I don't feel like there was any fat.
Really?
Or nearly none.
Nearly none. It was like, really lean.
There's Harley Quinn's story, and that felt like the most like a B plot. So like you could probably like obviously you don't necessarily need Harley Quinn. I don't think she really did much other than
crack jokes and kill the leader. Yeah,
and then she like her storyline was figuring out the purpose of the javelin.
Right.
So which stupid. Was a great moment.
But when she figured it out, it was an amazing moment.
Yeah. But not that. Like that wasn't necessary for the story.
It was just fun.
But yeah, it was a fun, great moment.
Yeah. No, I agree with that completely. Yeah. So, Yeah, overall, it's definitely up there, but it's not like I'm not like praising it. You know what I mean? I'm not praising the movie, but it was enjoyable. It was the most enjoyable DC movie in a minute.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, gotta give credit where credit's due. That's our review of the Suicide Squad. For Media Munchers, I'm Mathian.
And I'm Adrian.
And we'll see you next time.